Welcome to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform that you're listening on. All right, welcome back to another show, Driveway Beers podcast. I noticed that when I start these podcasts, I never tell anyone what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just assuming they saw the thumbnail, so they know what they're listening to.
I mean, most probably do.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know every podcast that I'm listening to.
That's true.
So,
But like with Joe Rogan, I mean, the beginning says the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
At least announces what it is.
Joe Rogan podcast.
All day, all night?
Yeah. Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast all night.
He said apparently that was like a goof. Like, it was like they put it on there because it sounded so stupid. Like, that's the real, like, that's what
that whole show started just him and his buddies sitting around smoking weed, and they decided to record it one day.
Yeah.
And then.
That's what this is.
Yeah. Except there's no weed.
No.
But,
Well, there could be.
Yeah. Well, not being.
Yeah. Well, yeah. One day.
Yeah.
What was that? What was it? 2 years, 18 days, and 17 hours?
Like that, yeah.
Then this will become a weed podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we'll get listeners.
Right.
Potheads are too lazy. So, but yeah, that's how it started. It was just a bunch of dudes sitting around, like, hanging out, and then we recorded it, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Right.
Now he's got millions of subscribers and listeners for each episode, and
I figure if we do it long enough people will listen one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Or we just die. Or we just die off and nobody fucking knows.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, all things are possible.
Oh, yeah. So, we're going to drink another whiskey tonight. So, last week, we did Old Forester 86. We got two more in front of us. We have Bullet, and we have Knob Creek. Bullet's 90 proof, Knob Creek 9 is 100 proof. For those who didn't tune in last week, we are not your seasoned whiskey drinkers. We are new to this. I jumped on a bandwagon with Mike about a month ago when he said, hey, I want to start a new hobby. I'm going to start drinking more whiskey.
Yeah.
Because beer's making me fat. I was like, you know what? Beer's probably making me fat too. Let's do. I'm on it. Let's do. I know I hate whiskey, but I'm gonna try it anyway.
For health.
For health, right? And so we get slim.
You're right.
We're gonna get our whiskey back.
Sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Yes.
Now, have you ever heard of a whiskey belly? No.
No, I haven't.
Everyone's heard of a beer belly.
Right. Beer keg, yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
So we jumped on this train, and we went from we lost food as a vice and picked up whiskey.
Yeah.
And cigars. It's too cold for cigars in the basement. Mm-hmm. Maybe when it gets warmer out, we'll record this in the garage. Because, to be honest with you, I don't know if you've noticed, but we haven't had too many guests on the show lately. Because I noticed it was super creepy when I said, hey, you want to come down to the basement?
Yeah, especially a lady.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. Like, I have there's no qualifier for that, right? It's just creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, you're an expert in this field. You want to come down to the basement and talk on microphones? You want to come to our murder basement?
Right.
Yeah, that probably isn't the best way to go about stuff.
Right. No, not good.
So maybe we'll start doing this in the garage in the summertime, just so it's not as creepy when we ask the people to come on. Like, if it's dudes, I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, you've been to the basement before.
Right.
It ain't that creepy. We're not going to cut you off.
Right.
Some fingers. Right. But when you ask like a lady, like a married lady, like,
yeah,
hey, you want to come to our basement?
Yeah. So what'd you do at night? Oh, where'd you go out? I was hanging out with two dudes in the basement. What?
Yeah. By the way, Miss Fiedler, if you're out there, no offense. Thank you for trusting us enough to come down here. And I hope we have you back on soon, right? Now that we've said that, right? She ain't coming back now. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, out in the garage, maybe we'll smoke some cigars. But while we're in the basement, we're going to keep trying a whiskey, hopefully every show or something, until we run out of new ones. So, all right, we got two. We got Knob Creek 9, 100 proof, and we got Bullet, which is your staple.
Yeah, Bullet's just my like house bourbon, and I forget what it costs, but it's not going to break the bank. So
looking at the two, this one's definitely got more of like that brownish, the brown to it. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm down to try the Bullet.
Let's do it.
I think I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Need more ice?
I think I'm good with ice.
Okay. Yeah, because these are those insulated cups.
So the insulated cups. Luckily, I've got a wife that kind of encourages these vices in me.
That's good.
She's like, "Oh, I'm glad you have a new hobby. Let me encourage that. Here's some glasses for it." So I got some like whiskey glasses now.
Why can't my new hobby be running?
Right. Because that's awful.
Eating vegetables.
Because it would suck.
Because they suck.
Yeah.
Like, more nicotine and alcohol.
Right.
So,
look. That was a really long pause right there.
That was a pregnant pause.
I went for like look, and then I just went silent.
And I was busy drinking.
Yeah,
so.
you were right. I honestly, that was a horrible job on my part covering you.
Yeah.
But some people like they take up smoking and they lose a ton of weight. The problem with cigars is I don't smoke enough of them for it to be an everyday thing.
Yeah, people take up smoking like Marlboro Reds.
Right. Yeah.
Or like the girls back in college smoking Parliaments, the P-bombs.
Sure, because you take your 15-minute smoke breaks, so you're not eating food. Right. So when you take up cigars and you only smoke them like once every 2 weeks or once a month, it does nothing for the waistline at all. Mm-mm. No, it's not a helper.
No.
I'll smoke them more when the weather gets warmer, especially if I go camping.
Yeah.
I'll do like one a night while we're camping. And then of course my girls, they'll yell at me. Like my youngest, like, "Daddy, is that a smoker? Is that a smoker?"
They don't understand. It's nuanced.
Right.
Like, this is okay. That cigarettes are not.
Right.
And it doesn't make any sense for a little kid because here's this big, huge cigar that takes you forever to smoke, where a cigarette takes, 5 minutes, if that,
right,
to smoke. So it's like, which one is the worst to a little kid? Yeah, the big cigar belch and smoke's probably the worst one, but it's not. They don't get that. Yeah.
Well, and I don't have the heart to tell her, but like, look, it's not the smoking the cigar that's going to kill me. It's the big beer belly that I haven't gotten rid of yet. That's probably going to kill me first. And you don't yell at me for eating a hot dog.
Right.
You know?
I can eat hot dogs all day.
Right. But you're yelling at me for the cigar. You know, I don't have the heart to tell her because she's only 7, right?
Yeah.
You know, okay. So, and the older one just looks at me like she gives me like the weird thing. Like, my wife doesn't give me like the stare. Right? Yeah. She's like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. She'll buy me accessories. Like she got me the ashtray. Yeah. You know, or the portable thing that I don't really know how I'm going to use yet. Mm-hmm. But I thought it looked really cool, so I was like, hey, I would like that for Christmas. She's like, oh, okay, great, no problem.
Yeah.
My daughter gives me the side eye when I'm smoking the cigar. like you shouldn't be doing that, right?
Right.
Like, you're 10. Go.
Yeah.
Get away. Go play or something.
Yeah, don't you have something to do?
Don't judge my bad habits, and don't do them, but don't judge my bad habits. So, yeah, Father of the Year over here, smoking cigars in front of his children, hopping them up on s'mores and when we go camping.
Yeah, the sugar you're eating is worse than the cigar I'm smoking.
That's right, yeah. I don't see you stopping. I don't see you putting that third marshmallow back. So I'm going to smoke this cigar, kid. Like, great parenting right there.
But
although compared to some of the other people, when I see like their kids acting like animals, forget it. I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Have they carjacked anyone lately? No, you're good.
Doing great.
It's bad that's the standard.
Hey, look, if it makes me look good, and they're not jacking my car,
yeah,
great.
Hey, jack it all you want.
Yeah,
I don't want it back. Total it.
Well, so that's the other beyond. Like, I would love to have a conversation with the carjacking guy. Like, they're probably looking to get in and out, right? And I want to have a conversation.
Oh.
I'm not trying to stop you.
Right.
But this car better disappear.
Yeah.
Like, quick like. I don't want you to just ditch it a mile from here so that they'll go find it and fix it. Like, this needs to be a car the cops don't find.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, like torched.
They're going to look at me like I got 7 heads.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is wrong with you, dude? You want me to steal your car? Yes. Listen. Take it to another state. Take it to a chop shop. I don't care. Wherever you got to take it so that they don't find it and that they can total it for me and I can get my insurance money and go get a new car, that's what you're going to do.
Well, it's like the...
that's the trade here.
Doug DeMuro had that, I think it was a Kia Cephia, that he just left parked in Philadelphia with the keys in it, and no one would even steal it. So he ended up driving, I think he drove it was either a Gelandewagen or a G-Wagon or his Defender over top of it, but... So...
By the way, that coughing was me.
So was that from the
bullet? Yeah, that was from the bullet.
See, I don't find it that bad. You gotta let it mellow a little bit. You gotta let the ice mellow it out a little bit.
I waited like a good 5 minutes before I took a sip.
Yeah, see, I'm good with it, man.
That's a rough sip for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the first sip is the roughest, so it's definitely not as smooth as the Old Forester.
Yeah,
and this one will put a little bit more hair in your chest.
Yeah.
But I got to imagine the price difference is probably close to what, 15, 20?
Yeah, it might be 25.
25, really?
Maybe.
Okay, if that's 25, I'd go up to that for 32.
Yeah.
Or 34.
Yeah,
or the Knob Creek. I would go to that.
My wife bought this, so around Thanksgiving. So you can see I haven't drank that. It's half full. But
this will warm you up.
Yeah, this is a good fire pit drinking.
I don't know, man. I don't this reminds me of another one I've got. And I wish I could remember the name of it.
Elijah Craig?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, how did you know?
I saw it upstairs.
Okay, all right. I thought you'd had it before. Like,
I've had Elijah Craig.
Okay. Everyone, like, in those YouTube videos, people swear by Elijah Craig. So I bought one. I bought the Elijah Craig small batch.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, what, maybe 90 proof or something like that? It wasn't that high a proof.
That's what this is.
Yeah. I thought it was awful.
You might just have, like, a hard limit. It might not be once you get to that 90,
yeah,
it might just be too hot for you.
But see, I don't know. See, and that's why I want to try the Knob Creek later. Because the Knob Creek's 100.
Yeah.
And I've drank that before. And I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
I might have like a medium point where I just don't like it.
It could also be a quality thing too.
Well, so it could be like, because there's more heat to it, but not enough flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get up to 100, you're roughly dealing with the same amount of heat, but more flavor.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about, right? This is why we either need Jared or Christian down here, because they would be able to tell us.
Yeah, but it's more fun with us just kind of muddling through.
That's very true.
Rather than like, oh, this got a nice bouquet.
The funny part is,
it's
like,
oaky, huh?
I know if I were to say something to Jared, he gets all serious on me.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that's not what it is. Like, wait, no, we're having a good time here. Don't go serious on me. This is not a serious endeavor here. This is me drinking whiskey and trying to make sense of things.
Let's see. There you go. Oh, that's 1.75.
What are you looking for?
How much this stuff is?
Bullet?
Yeah. So 25 to 35.
That's interesting.
For $7.50. That's a Drizzly. So
here's Drizzly's prices are super low.
Okay.
Now, do you watch the Pat McAfee show or listen to it sometimes?
I should.
It's a weird listen, dude. It's like a bro fest.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I like that show when they have the serious takes.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Pat and AJ Hawk talk.
Yeah.
Or Darius Butler, or even AQ Shipley now. But when he's talking with like his boys and it gets kind of like silly and stupid, mm-hmm. That's when I lose it.
Yeah.
I'm too old for the bro shit.
Yeah.
At this point, it makes no sense to me, right?
Yeah.
But when they they know their football though. So like I like listening to them when they talk about that stuff, and they get great guests on that show for sports, and they get them to act like humans.
Isn't Aaron Rodgers on there every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday. He's kind of a douche. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I want to like him really badly because I think everyone treats him like shit. But when he goes on that show, he kind of has that cocky arrogance that, like, you see it on the football field, like, oh, that's just him on the football field.
Yeah.
But no, that seems to be how he is in real life. Like, he's got that kind of jaded personality, like someone like a dude that's always dicked over.
I think he's gonna end up being like he's gonna retire and like end up being like a hippie down in the
I don't doubt that.
Rainforest.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he already is. He goes out in the offseason doing ayahuasca.
Yeah,
that shit's amazing.
Yeah,
like there was a back before Vice got super woke. Whoa, I just sound like a fucking weirdo. Before Vice got super woke, there was I can't remember this dude's name. It was essentially a show about this super pharmacology kind of dude or whatever. And he would go to these places and learn about like natural remedies and natural herbs. And that's where I saw ayahuasca for the first time because they did an episode on it. And he went to one of these resorts in like Central America and he did ayahuasca and I think maybe I was just unaware, but then I would see other shows about ayahuasca and like they show you like it's like they do like the real reality TV documentary type shit, and they show people going on that are on ayahuasca, and then of course you have the people that are administering it, and like trying to make it sound like all official and like, oh no, this isn't like, no fucker, it's a hallucinogenic drug
that makes people licking toads.
Well, it makes people throw up. It's basically a detox drug for them. Like everything comes out. You shit yourself, you vomit, you sweat it out, everything. And you do it to an extreme that you hallucinate. It does have hallucinogenic effects on it, where you think you're going like it's basically like a huge acid trip.
Well, with
a lot more side effects.
Yeah, but there's been. Well, I don't think there's been any research on the United States because, of course, everything's illegal when it comes to that. But, so I listened on a couple podcasts. One was a girl named Kelsey Sheeran. She was Canadian in the Canadian Army. Ended up going with the Black Watch on some missions in Afghanistan because they needed a female to search females.
Yep.
And couple dudes got blown up real bad. It became a mess. So she had a bunch of bad PTSD, some injuries. She did some work with psychedelics and really saw some value in it. There's another guy named Kagan Gill. He ejected from an F-18 at the speed of sound.
Jesus.
And lived. Damn near every bone in his body was broken. So when they found him, so he survived the ejection. His parachute almost drowned him. He's in the ocean, but they find him, so he did some work with it, and so it's really helped some of these people with PTSD. And then if you think about football players, like maybe there could be some benefit for CTE, which I'm convinced. You used to see the video with OBJ on the flight.
No, what happened?
So he got drunk and got kicked off a flight, but was acting a fool, not acting a fool like showing his ass as far as like, hitting stuff or yelling and screaming, but essentially he's like, well, I'll leave the flight, but everyone has to get off the plane with me. And then I'll get off the plane. And it's just, no, dude, you're drunk, get off the plane. But if you look at who are the head cases in the NFL, there are these dudes that take their DBs, linebackers, and wide receivers. But who's sustaining those high speed impacts? Those three positions.
Right.
Offensive linemen, defensive linemen aren't like they're hitting each other every play.
Yeah, but they're only like a yard apart from each other.
They're popping each other.
There's no lead up to impact.
Right. And they're not they're taking it head on. They're not getting ear holed by a guided missile, So maybe there's some benefit to it. And if you think of some of these players, like I guarantee you that like Ocho Cinco, OBJ, Antonio Brown, God, I can't think of his name. Played for the Eagles, played for Dallas, receiver.
Terrell Owens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's CTE in those dudes.
Did you hear recently about Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback in Miami? So he was out. He got 3 concussions in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
One of which he got on the field, staggered, fell, and he convinced the training staff that it was he had a stinger in his back or something, and that's why he kind of fell.
Yeah.
He said he got jelly-legged, basically. They let him go out and play, got another concussion in that game, got taken out, and then he came back the following week, I believe, and that was when he had like the knives out hands.
Yeah.
And then he was out for a while, and then he came back, and then got another one, and that's when he was out for the season.
Yeah.
The advice he has been given by everyone other than the NFL doctors, of course, was that he should retire.
Yeah.
If he wants to be able to lead a normal life, he should retire.
Andrew Luck left.
But what do the Dolphins do? They've named him their starting quarterback for next year.
Yeah.
Like, at what point do they need to... I mean, you can't take away a guy's way to make a living.
Yeah.
Right? But move him to the front office.
Yeah.
Like, save the guy from himself. Mm-hmm. Or like, you can't be the NFL, say you care about player safety, and let Tua Tagovailoa back on the field.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That'd be like... I mean, that's almost like if that guy from Buffalo is allowed to play football again.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that don't know, his last name is Hamlin, I believe.
Yeah, Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin. The guy died on the field.
Yeah.
He had to be resuscitated with an AED device.
Yeah.
Okay. 9 minutes of CPR to keep him alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, he's made a full recovery.
Yeah.
If they let that kid, and he's a kid, he's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
He's not going to stop himself.
No.
He is still invincible in his mind. If the NFL lets him back on the field, they deserve any and all lawsuits that come their way for player safety.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. The dude died
right
on the field.
Yeah.
You got to tap out on that one. Right?
It's almost like the Hangover, the second Hangover, like, but did you die?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and people don't understand. They're not going to do it themselves.
No.
And I don't know, like, let's say Tua's dad even says, look, you shouldn't be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the NFL stops him, he's going to go back.
Yeah.
If the NFL says you can come back, he's going back. Because that's his dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's his way. Even if his family's not in poverty, that's life-changing money. That's generational money.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially for a guy like Damar Hamlin. Like, I think his mom raised him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's life-changing money, not just for him and his mom, but for his kids, their kids.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, you're talking 4 or 5. That's what they call it, generational money.
Right. And here's the difference between Hamlin and Tua. Tua was a was a first-round draft pick.
Right.
And then, of course, they get big. Those other players that aren't first-round draft picks,
They don't have the money.
that just break into the league, like that first year that they're actually in the league and like they have a solid starting position.
Yep.
But they're not, a Pro Bowler. They're not, those dudes aren't making. It takes them a while to build that up. And that first year, like, think about these players that get called up from the minor leagues. They're still playing on a 2-way contract. They may be making league minimum. But, say that rookie sensation that comes out, and I'm not talking like an Adley Rushman, but a dude they call up and like actually does really well, dude might be only making $300,000 that year.
Yeah.
And
baseball's the worst as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Because they don't make jack in the minors.
Right.
Again, unless you're one of like the top 15 picks.
Yeah.
You don't make anything.
Mm-mm.
At least with the NFL, I'm not going to justify the NFL. Outside of the first round, I don't think there's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Average NFL career is 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Yeah.
So if you make minimum, I think league minimum is what, $600,000?
Yeah.
Maybe. At one point I remember being $450, but I think it's $600 now. And I think it goes up. I think that's like rookie minimum.
Yeah.
So let's say you make it those 3 years. You're 1.8 mil.
Mm-hmm.
And if a lot of that money, I want to say 6% goes to your agent, 35 goes to the federal government.
Yeah.
If you're in a state where there's state income tax, that's another 6 to 7% right there. Some as high as 12.
Yeah.
So 50% of your money's gone.
Yeah.
So you went from 1.6 to like 800,000 over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be all the money for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And those dudes don't get, and even the players that might be doing a bit better.
Yeah.
Like, how many of them have big fat endorsement contracts?
Right.
Like, Justin Tucker is probably the greatest kicker to ever play the game. He's got an endorsement deal with Royal Farms.
Right.
You know?
That's a couple. He probably makes close to his annual salary.
Yeah.
With just Royal Farms.
But that's, but your average, even your big, some of your big time dudes, they don't have big endorsement deals. Like, those are your mega stars, like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, like Drew Brees. Like, those dudes are getting the big endorsement deals. The other ones, does Tua have a endorsement deal?
I'm sure he's got something down in Miami.
Yeah, but it's not, we're not talking,
maybe he's got some of that Subway money.
Yeah,
taking over for Jared.
Yeah, but we're not talking like Peyton Manning in every commercial.
No, it's not Aaron Rodgers and State Farm money.
Yeah,
quarterbacks get the majority of the cap. I mean, look, Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers getting the State Farm money. Peyton Manning got the nationwide money.
Yeah,
you get some, but most of these guys, like, they're doing like Justin Tucker deals.
Yeah,
where Royal Farms is a regional convenience store.
Yeah,
they probably pay him a couple $1,000,000.
Yeah,
like for Nationwide and Peyton Manning, that was probably at least $10 million a year.
Oh yeah,
like he was probably making. I mean, Tom Brady makes more money off the field than he does on the field.
Mm-hmm. Even you have, and then you might run into a dude like J.J. Watt,
right?
But J.J. Watt is just like I actually see him coming out and being like the next. Who's the dude that he used to play for the Raiders? I think he's on white guy. He was a defensive end. Has been in movies.
Not Howie Long.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, he did a couple movies.
Yeah,
I see him probably more as like a Michael Strahan type.
Yeah,
he like super big personality.
Yeah,
I mean Michael Strahan, dude hosts Good Morning America with Kelly Ripa. Yeah, or used to.
Yeah, so he used to do Live with Kelly.
Yeah,
and then he left that and went to GMA, Good Morning America.
Something like that.
He went to, but then he does like the NFL shows.
Yeah,
so
he's making a lot of money.
Yeah,
doing all right,
making more than he did when he was. But he's got a big personality, friendly to the camera.
Oh yeah, got that big. He's always got the big smile on.
Yeah, Yeah.
I mean, look, there's an art to being good on TV. I mean, look, some would say Charles Barkley probably makes more on TV than he ever did in the NBA.
Yeah,
right. But he's got a personality for TV.
Yeah,
I mean, Shaq's kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. Like they're big personalities, but they're lovable personalities.
Yeah. And Shaq's stick is like he acts like he's stupid, but the dude's not. That dude's
brilliant as hell. He reminds me of Magic Johnson. Mm-hmm. So what people don't know is Magic Johnson owns a lot of stuff. Like he started off, I think he bought up movie theaters.
Yeah, there's one in Largo.
Was it AMC movie theaters or something like
that? Well, they're called Magic Theaters.
Okay, but I think he bought in as part of a larger group or something like that, and he branded his own. He might be on his own now, but when he first started, he bought like a lot of franchise movie theaters. Mm-hmm. And then he took that money and parlayed it into other things. I mean, the guy owns a part of the Dodgers for crying out loud. Like, he's not a majority owner, but he owns a piece of it.
Oh yeah.
And you gotta, just to get in some of those groups, you gotta have bucks.
Oh yeah.
And I want to say he owns a part of a couple other sports teams. I don't think it's just the Dodgers anymore.
Well, if you look at some of these other dudes, like
maybe the Kings,
like Joe Gibbs,
yeah,
like
racing, yeah,
racing. Then you see guys buying car dealerships and
Roger Penske,
yeah.
I mean, shoot, man, Penske was one of the first guys to kind of start consolidating those car dealerships, and then he got into rental trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, because he saw everyone knows Ryder,
yeah.
the rental trucks.
Yep.
Well, Penske's the other big one.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are not stupid. That's why, I'm surprised a lot of these guys don't retire sooner after they've got their bag. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot more money to be made on the outside just by being who they are.
Yeah.
Because billionaires and millionaires love to be around former star athletes.
Yeah, yeah.
And they love to call them their friend. Mm-hmm. Even if they're not. So if that means you got to let him into the investment group with a little bit less than everybody else, but you get magic.
Oh, yeah.
You bring him in.
Yeah.
And that's how these guys should be leveraging. Like if I ever had any advice for young athletes, and they'd be, oh, well, you sold out. Man, screw that. Because when your grandchildren's grandchildren still have that money,
yeah,
you think they care that you sold out, quote unquote, sold out?
Right.
You think like Rothschild's great ancestor or whatever level of ancestor we're on from the Rothschilds, you think they care he sold out?
Yeah.
Hell no.
They give zero fucks.
Right. And all the people that gave a crap about him selling out, they're all dead. and their ancestors and whatnot now are probably poor.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to sell out.
Right. I stayed true to my hood or whatever. Okay.
Get out of here with that nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like some people just got the wrong mentality when it comes to that stuff. It's like, look, man, you do what you got to do to make your money to elevate your family's lifestyle.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because let's say you leave, let's say you don't sell out, and I'm going to put quote sell out, and some of your family still got to live where they live in a dangerous part, and someone dies because of it. You're gonna be pissed off you didn't sell out then.
Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, look, and I don't know if maybe because I'm not in that position, right? And I don't want to be seen as a sellout. I don't have to worry about that. If I go make some kind of deal, my brother's gonna be like, "Oh, you sold out." He ain't gonna, like, "Hey, can I come along?"
Yeah.
You know? I won't have that anchor weighing me down.
Yeah. Like if my oldest makes it to the NBA,
right?
Like no one's like, you sold Foxmore out.
Right. Everyone's like, "Oh, I remember that kid. He's from here."
Yeah.
You know. And now he's not.
Yeah.
And good on him.
Yep.
Good for him.
Well, it's like Kevin Durant is from Seat Pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, right outside D.C., rough area, and now he still gives back to his community.
Yeah.
Like he built a whole rec center and all kinds of stuff there, but
he ain't living there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah. He's, so that's, and I don't understand why people would, like you look at Michael Vick, you're still hanging out with all the people that you grew up with, and they got you in trouble. You went to jail.
Right.
Now, he was actively involved in, the dog fighting, all that nonsense, but like
he gave up some of his prime career years for that nonsense.
Yeah. To fight Pitbull. Look, what are you doing?
You probably lost 25 to 30 mil.
Yeah.
Especially because the next contract you signed, which you got lucky they let you sign it,
yeah,
was for pennies on the dollar of what you should have gotten if you didn't go to jail.
That dude was super lucky that he was able to come back and kind of redeem himself. And I don't know if that would happen today. I think that dude would be canceled, done. So
I swallowed that wrong. It wasn't a bad sip.
It went down the wrong pipe.
I just swallowed it wrong, like a dummy. Like I've never swallowed anything before. I literally had swallowed it, had to cough it back up, swallowed it again.
Yeah. But
it actually tastes better now than it did before.
It mellowed out a little bit.
It did mellow out.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more flavor now than it was before.
Yeah.
But
it's weird because it watered down.
Yeah, it is weird. And maybe that's why it's not hitting so hard anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely tasted more flavor now than I did the first time, though, which is strange.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's one of my favorites. But on the sports vein, did you see the player for the Flyers didn't wear the Pride jersey?
Oh my God! Yes,
and
saw it. And then I heard about it for 3 days after.
Yeah, so first of all, I think it's important to realize why the leagues, NHL, MLB, and why they do all this stuff. Anyone who thinks that these leagues give a fuck about you or your cause, you're fooling yourself. All they do it for is to sell more jerseys. So the Washington Capitals have 2 primary jerseys, right? Home and away. That's how it was for years. Well, then they came out with the alternate or the retro or reverse retro. They came out with all these other. Then they came out with the Pride jersey, right?
Yep.
It's not because they care about LGBTQ rights.
Nope.
They want to sell jerseys to people. And then they have the same with the St. Patrick's Day jersey.
Yep.
And the Veterans Day jersey. And all the other jerseys they come out with. Like the veteran that's in Digicam, like the camouflage. They wear it for warm-ups.
Yep.
The breast cancer one that's pink. The all cancer one that's purple. The autism one that's the rainbow. They could give 2 shits. You come up with something that they can make a jersey off of, they're going to sell it and make money off of it.
And for people will buy them.
Yeah.
There are some diehard fans that buy them, and there's
every single one of them.
And there's enough of them out there where it's worth it for them to do this.
Yeah.
You'll have people like we talk about cults a lot, right? Like people find an interest, and then they're ride or dies, right? Mm-hmm. And nobody can tell them that it sucks. Yeah. Nobody can tell them the Flyers suck.
Yeah.
And they have 8 Flyers jerseys.
Yeah.
Because that's their cult. That's what they're into. That's their hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And there's enough of those people.
And every single special game they play in, so Winter Classic, Stadium Series, they come out with a new jersey for it.
New patches, new jerseys, new combinations.
Yeah, all this stuff just so now you can have 8 million Flyers jerseys.
Yep.
Now the Flyers, some of them are like each one's uglier than the last. Now this guy, I forget his name, Provorov or so, I forget it.
Some Russian dude.
Yeah,
sure.
But he, the people are freaking out that he didn't wear the Pride jersey.
Right. During warm-ups. Not during the game, during warm-ups.
Right.
Okay.
But then the same people who were complaining that he took a stand with that
and not the military
had no problem with everyone kneeling and doing all that. So it's like there's the double standard again.
Yep.
Now, I don't really care what the guy does. I don't even like the Flyers. I hate the Flyers.
Right. So
the Capitals had their Pride jersey. Everyone wore it. If I was playing for them, I would just put, whatever. How much you paying me?
Right.
I'm not trying to make a stand.
Right.
Now I support all these people. Hey, I want everyone to feel comfortable. Hockey has had a rough go with trying to diversify. And it's nice to see different faces on the bench.
Sure.
As a fan of the sport, everyone should want to grow their sport and diversify it. So the fact that you see black faces, Asian faces on these benches, to me, it's awesome because it shows that the sport's growing and appealing to more people. And if you're going to have special jerseys for them, but let's not forget the reason they're doing it is to sell some schlub a jersey.
Right. Like, so my issue is this. When these things happen, and he's not the first guy to do this. Maybe in hockey he was, but there's been another guy, like, for example, like the kneeling thing before the national anthem. Plenty of athletes didn't want to kneel, and they had to. And of course, like they get questioned by these reporters. Like the reporters care. The guy had to say, "Well, I'm Russian Orthodox. I don't believe it because of my religion."
Mm-hmm.
I hate that excuse.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Let's. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to separate out the groups for everybody. There's L and G, lesbian and gay. I believe they make up about 5% to 10% of the U.S. population. The B is for bisexual. I could, if you want to lump them in, I think it's a minute number.
Yeah.
That gets lumped in. The T for trans. All right, that's the hot button.
Yeah.
Now, less than 1% of the population. Less than 1. Yet they get pandered to like they're 60% of the population.
Yeah.
A majority, and I'm going to say a hefty majority, 80%, or I'll say 70% of this country doesn't care.
Yeah.
They're not against you. They just don't. It's not like people sit around. Now we are, but it's not like people sit around and say, "How about those trans people today?" All right?
Yeah.
They got it rough.
Yeah.
No one's doing that. The only time it comes up is when, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's only been within like the last 3 years that trans men have wanted to compete against women. I'm sorry, trans women want to compete against biological women.
Right.
That's the only time anyone's ever cared. Because you're talking about a transgender woman competing against a biological female. And their response is, well, all women are women.
Yeah.
Or trans women are women. Now, most men just kind of stand off to the side like, this ain't our fight.
Yeah.
Unless they're dads with daughters, like myself. Or you have the LGBTQ feminists. And I'm not even going to put L and G in there because I don't think they really want to be involved in this either. But you have the trans, the pro-trans group, whether they're allies or trans themselves. And then on the other side of that, you have what Dave Chappelle commonly refers to as TERFs. Trans exclusionary radical feminist. Basically meaning you're a feminist, but you don't include trans females as in your feminist movement.
Right.
That's essentially what it means, right? Okay. Most people in their day-to-day life don't even think about it. And they didn't think about it until trans women started to compete against biological women. Let's face some facts there. Now, did the L and the G group have issues 10, 20 years ago with gay marriage? Sure. There was an issue.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the state or federal government shouldn't be involved in issuing marriage certificates. That's between the couple and their church, because marriage is a church concept. Civil unions, in my opinion, is what all marriages should be in the eyes of the state and
really
the federal government.
They're just,
And it's only for, well, for one, it's only for tax purposes in their eyes. But in medical instances, that's the other major benefit.
Yeah.
Because in some instances with hospitalization, only family members can be inside the room or can only have certain rights as far as death and medical concerns. And if you need a piece of paper from the state, city, federal government to say that, yes, you are indeed family with this person.
Right.
Then I don't care whether you're male, male, female, female, male, female. I don't care. If you want to make it that any two people can union up via contract in the eyes of the state, fine. Let it be that way. But stop calling it marriage certificates. Marriage, in my eyes, is two people and a church.
Yeah, or whatever
religious organization.
Yeah.
Yes. Religious organization. Sorry.
Every religion has some form of
spiritual union.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that's always been my stance on it. And once that hurdle was kind of overcome, I don't know what rights, I'm going to use quote unquote straight or cisgendered people, which I hadn't heard the word cisgendered until about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what rights they have that now that gay and lesbian and trans folks don't have.
Right, and that's what I always come back to when this comes up is like, what can't you do exactly that the other group can?
Correct.
What are you unable to do what are you prohibited from doing by law
Right.
that everyone else can do? Like,
But if we're talking, are we talking about sports now? Because now we're not talking about, now it's not an L and a G issue. It's just a T issue.
yeah.
And for anyone who says there's no difference between a transgender woman and a biological woman in physical sporting events, needs to take a hard look at some science.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. We can have a discussion as to whether that physical difference makes a difference.
Yeah.
But feminism, and nowadays they would call them TERFs, fought for a lot of years to get Title IX implemented.
Yeah.
Equal rights for female athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Which also meant it was equal opportunity for female athletes, and which included scholarship money. So now it's money. Now you're talking about some money.
It's interesting. That's what caused the kind of spurred on field hockey.
Yeah.
Was that it was a sport that only women played in the United States.
In the United States. And not across the world, though. Yeah.
But in the United States, only girls played it. So that kind of balanced out football, because every other sport, like there's men's basketball, women's basketball. There's men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse. There's baseball, softball. Swimming has both.
Gymnastics even has both.
But they had nothing to go against football. Field hockey kind of fit that niche. Like, that's kind of where it really came in.
Well, even wrestling, too.
Yeah.
You had to have some women's-only sports to balance.
And that's really kind of... Because, like, cheer couldn't do it.
Right.
There wasn't enough of them.
Right.
Some of the other stuff that athletic endeavors, like maybe if you have, like, a rhythmic gymnastics or something, or, like, synchronized swimming, a lot of men aren't doing that.
Or you'll have like a women's swimming team, but not a men's.
Yeah.
Like you'll have only one.
Yeah.
You're right. You're trying to balance it out.
Yeah.
But they only had to do it because of that law.
Mm-hmm.
And it really talked about athletic departments at these educational institutions before sports blew up.
Yeah.
They had to give equal scholarship money to women.
Yeah.
Now, whether you want to agree with that or not, as a concept, is completely separate. But by law, it has to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy it exists because I got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Right? If you asked me that maybe 15, 20 years ago, I might have had a different answer.
Mm-hmm.
But I also didn't do any research on it either.
Right.
I mean, what do they say? With age comes wisdom, right? With age comes research and stuff that I've looked up.
Yeah.
And yes, I do feel, because you got to remember, a lot of these educational institutions, they get federal money.
Mm-hmm.
And you now have to adhere by federal rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
So, yes, you should have to provide equal opportunity for men and women for scholarship money.
Yeah.
But now you have another group of people that want to dig into that pot of money. Is it widespread? No. But it's becoming more widespread.
Well, and I think you have to look at... So, now, great, I have all boys. But I think you have to look at it from... There's the competitive aspect, of course. And if you look at Leah Thomas... So, I'm not going to go and dead name that. I don't believe... Like, if Leah Thomas is living as a woman and wants to be addressed as a woman, sure. I'm not going to insult her or degrade her by saying he or whatever.
No.
Or
live how you want to live.
Yeah, you're Leah Thomas, great. That's awesome. I'm going to support you. Yeah. However, you can't deny the fact that when she swam on the men's team, she was 400 something overall, and then goes and takes the has to be on hormone blockers for X amount of time and to go and swim on the women's team, and then goes from 486 to number one.
Right.
You look at Allison Felix, who's the fastest woman on earth. However, if you compare her time, the top 300 male high school track athletes are all faster than she is. So that's a significant number. You take the world record holder, Olympic gold medalist, down the list of all Allison Felix's accomplishments, not to degrade those accomplishments at all because they're huge.
Right.
She's a lot faster than I am. But the top 300 males are faster than she is. So at that point, if any one of those kids decide, or just is, in their heart they believe they're female and they want to switch, the playing field's not level anymore.
Well, let's use this example. Let's say there's 300 males that are faster than Allison Felix. That's what you said. Well, there's only 270 scholarships available to male track athletes in her event. And the bottom three get savvy. And they say, well, now I identify as a trans female. Mm-hmm. And they wait their 2 years. They take their medicine, or they take their pills or whatever they're taking. And then they take 30 spots before Allison Felix gets offered one as the 31st person.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Right.
Is that a level playing field? And according to science, it is not.
Right.
And that's where I've got an issue. I don't have an issue with the lifestyle.
No.
I don't have an issue with any of that.
Yeah.
But now you're trying to infringe on another person's hard-fought rights for the benefit of yourself. I mean, it's almost like, for example, if you're a white person and you apply to an HBCU, you're eligible for a minority scholarship.
Yeah.
Because you are the minority on that campus. Mm-hmm. Now, am I in favor of people taking advantage of the loophole? Sure. But do I think it's a loophole?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you should be doing it.
Right. Right. And look, I keep coming back to then you also have a safety issue too.
Oh, yeah, well, and that's another thing. And sports is different because of that.
Yeah. So if you have say it's a combative sport, right? And now there is like women's jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, that's an MMA type stuff that's working its way up and becoming bigger. Now you have someone who grew up as a male, now identifies as female, and is competing against women in a combative sport. I mean, you can get people killed.
Well, we already have an example of that. Fallon Fox.
Yeah. Broke that girl's face.
Broke her face.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Has a dude broken another dude's face?
Yeah.
Sure. But you put that other girl in a ring with Fallon Fox, you put her at greater risk than she signed up for. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about a sport where at some points the women's pay is about equal to men.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey was I think she was the highest paid UFC fighter when she was at her top of her game, because she drew big crowds.
Yeah.
Let's say Fallon Fox went up against Ronda Rousey and crushed her skull. Mm-hmm. Now she couldn't do it as a man, which she was born as.
Yeah.
But now she's going to transition to a female, go beat the top female, and go earn money that way instead.
Yeah.
With an unfair advantage. Mm-hmm. Well, at that point, why aren't you just letting all divisions be open between men and female,
Yeah.
and because you wouldn't have any females
Because if they weren't
in those combat sports.
And I think there's a delusion, and people say that, oh, if you don't support it, you're not supporting trans rights. I don't think this has like. I'm not at all against trans rights or anyone. Live your life as you see fit. And again, I said, we both said earlier, like, we're not going to. No one here is saying, calling these people he or dead name, anything like that. Like, no, you're female. You fine. I'll honor your wishes, but to go and just bring up these facts gets labeled as a bigot.
Right.
You're anti-trans. No, I'm not anti-trans at all. But I think you can't just deny some of the physiological differences between men and women.
No, the two issues can be mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
I can be supportive of trans rights. Again, if someone points to me something they can't do that everyone else can do, and I guarantee someone's gonna say, "Well, sports."
Yeah.
Okay, but you're talking about something that's more complicated.
Yeah.
Because you want to you're not asking to compete against men.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to be trans and compete against men, by all means.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Now, did you see there's the trans male swimmer that went from women's to men's and just completely got
demolished?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm all for their opportunity to do that. It's like you're competing up.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. Because that's what biology says, that you're competing up.
Mm-hmm.
You're competing against the tougher competition.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It's like if you got a kid who should be playing under 8 baseball and they decide to play U10.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with a kid who's 10 years old
playing with 8-year-olds
that should play on under 8s.
Yeah.
Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
We put limits in place for reasons, and most of them are safety related.
Well, so perfect example of that, we went to. So my middle son had a baseball game. The other team didn't show up. So everyone's there. Rather than saying, hey, and my oldest and I had just cleared the field next door from his game. So he had all his gear and everything and said, hey, Logan, you want to play? Because they're just going to have a scrimmage. So he let all the brothers and sisters come out. Some of the parents were out there. But when it was Logan's time to bat, they didn't have any little kids in the field. He hits the ball too hard.
Right.
We're talking, at the time, it was 8U. So 7-year-old kids, my oldest is 10. He knows how to hit. So off a machine, like, I hope the ball's in the air.
Right.
Because a grounder or line drive, he's going to kill one of these kids.
Take it out, yeah.
So when the older kids there were a couple older brothers there, when they went to hit, none of the little kids were in the field. They got to take 3 swings off the machine just to crack a ball.
Right.
And then they went back and the little kids came back up. And that's the way it should have been.
Right.
Because he was going to hit that ball so hard, the little kids don't have the strength, they lack the ability, they can't defend themselves.
Right. They were going to take one in the face.
Yeah. And I think that's what you get into with some of these sports. Like, imagine if, so my middle son doesn't make Broadneck's baseball team.
Right.
But we can get him on the softball team because he can hit some dingers.
Right.
Right? So now we have him in high school playing on the girls' team. And the thing is, we're not by making this argument, we're not minimizing the trans condition to, I just want to make a sports team. But I think there are people out there that think like that.
Right.
Think of the competition among some of these crazy parents that we see. That you don't think they'd encourage this? Oh, hey, if you
right.
We
can get you that scholarship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, there's probably people we've been on the field with who would do it.
We've talked about crazy sports parents before.
Yeah. I mean, there are parents right now that there are coaches So when my oldest was on the summer tournament team, we had to have a copy of his birth certificate.
Right.
Because there are coaches that, when they're getting beat,
Yep.
they'll pull every trick in the book. Oh, I don't think that kid's not 10. He's too tall.
Right.
So you have his birth certificate there. Meaning that there was a coach somewhere out there at one point that brought, let me bring this 13-year-old out.
Well,
The dude's got a mustache.
well, look, everyone knows this name from our generation. Danny Almonte.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
They took that kid to the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
And he was 2 years too old. Mm-hmm. So for people to say that only the parents today would do that, oh no, they've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Some of these parents will do anything to win freaking Little League, for crying out
Yeah.
loud. There's no money there.
Yeah.
Little League.
A summer tournament team in Anne Arundel County.
So if you don't think some parent out there right now is scheming to do this so that their kid can get a scholarship to college, and don't get me wrong, some parents, they want the scholarship more than the kid.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to say, well, my son has a full ride to Maryland.
Yeah.
Like it validates them.
Yeah.
Some of these people are that devious. Mm-hmm. And just because you aren't doesn't mean someone else isn't.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think Fallon Fox knew what she was doing when she got in the ring with a biological female? You don't think, you really think, oh, I took the requisite medicine. All those years of puberty are erased.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right. Have pure tests, just dump it into your system.
Yeah. All the years that you went through puberty got more bone density, quicker twitch muscles, denser muscles.
Yeah.
All the things that science say happens, during adolescence for young men and young women, those don't exist anymore because they took some medicine.
Right. 2 years of...
All of that goes away.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't. But it's not like all of a sudden. Yeah, like when a guy who is a professional weightlifter stops weightlifting, and the muscles decrease in size. Well, the bone density didn't go away.
Yeah. And the muscles don't go away entirely.
Right. You got to be kidding me with this.
The dude might not be pulling 600-pound deads, but he's probably pulling 450.
Right.
He'd probably come out cold and pull 450.
Right. Like the advantages of going through puberty are still there.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, don't get me wrong, some of these kids are transitioning before puberty, but there's scientific evidence that says that harms children.
Yeah. And you're talking about, years of eons, our species evolution.
Right.
That you're going to stop like that because of one drug, may it affect it? Is it going to make it less? Sure. But there's still things there that are going to be there.
Right.
So it's not something that you can just go and throw a pill at, which is something that our medical community loves to do, is just throw pills at things. So,
this got off the rails, huh?
yeah.
I don't know. What did we start off? We started off with
Whiskey.
And we were supposed to get to the Russell Brand thing.
Yeah.
And the whole follow the money for Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
And that guy's made a mint. Working for him and his wife.
Yeah.
And I guess did his daughter work at Twitter or something like that? There was a lot to hit there. We didn't hit any of it.
No.
Okay.
As we usually do.
Listen, hey,
but
maybe we got next week's topic already wrapped up. But but look, for anyone wondering though, we are not anti-trans, we're not anti-gay, we're not anti-lesbian. I hope every single person that identifies how they want to identify, I hope they live the life that they want to live.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to do anything to impede that life whatsoever. But when it comes to sports and combat, That's the only one issue that I have. And I would at least like more settled science on it before I make a final decision.
Yeah.
But for what we know right now, I would have to say, look, if you're living your life the way you want to live it, if you had to give up that sport so that you can live the way you want to live, we all make sacrifices in life, right? I mean, I made sacrifices so I could be a happily married man with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would I make those sacrifices again tomorrow? You're damn right I would.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the life I want to live.
Yeah.
I think everyone in life makes sacrifices to live the life that they want to live. You know, not everyone became the Major League Baseball player that they wanted to be, or the NFL football player, or the Nobel Prize winning scientist, or the mathematician, or Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting. No one got everything they wanted in life. But we made those decisions, and as long as you're happy with those decisions, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
If you're happy living your trans life, that's great, but you might have to make some sacrifices in order to live that life. And you're not the only one making sacrifices to live the life that you want to live.
Yeah. And I think at some point there's going to be a way to figure this out.
Sure.
But I think what's important is to not shut down discussion over it.
Right.
And I think that happens all too much. What is the ad hominem argument?
Right.
Like, I don't like what you're saying, so you're a bigot.
Right. You're an ism.
Yeah.
You're whatever.
And the problem with that is that solution never gets found because everyone just is too busy shouting each other down. So give each other some space so together this stuff can be figured out. It's a complicated issue. So, everyone, I want everyone to be happy and be able to live the life they want to live. But it can't impede upon somebody else's, desires as well. And I think that's where the problem lies. But with time and discussion and understanding, there's a way to get through it and figure out something that works.
As far as the name calling goes, I believe the prophet Eminem once said, "I am whatever you say I am, and if I wasn't, why would you say I am?"
Mm-hmm.
And then there's more to that, but
yeah.
It's quite poetic.
Yeah.
Which is why I made it into a top 40 rap song. But thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. DrivewayBeersPodcast.com. Smash that like button. Oh, and if you're on one of the podcast platforms, we obviously put this out for free. We want everyone to listen. But we're going to start charging people. And what we're going to charge you is that everyone who listens has to hit the subscribe button. Think of it as your way to pay us for putting out a show.
Yeah.
It costs you nothing.
Right.
But it's payment to us that you hit the subscribe button. And I'm not going to lie, I stole this idea from a guy on YouTube called Jesse on Fire. I'll give credit where credit is due. He says, "Look, I've got all this free content, or I've got all this content out there. You're free to listen to all of it that you want, but you got to pay me by hitting that subscribe button." That's all I'm saying. It takes you 2 seconds. Click subscribe, click follow, whatever button there is on your podcast platform, or on YouTube, or on Rumble, or wherever you listen to this. Click subscribe or follow. And that's your payment. It's free for you to do, but it's our version of a payment system. And that's all we ask. We'll see you next time.